Hi students, so this lecture for VBA second sem. In the last class we discussed how to prepare the realization account, and I hope all of you understand that how to prepare the realization account. Okay, so in the debit side all the assets we have to record, in the credit side all the liabilities we have to record. Okay, so like this we have to prepare the realization account. In the last lecture I have explained all these things. Okay, so now in this session we will see incorporating entries or opening entries in the books of transferee company. Okay, so in the earlier lecture we saw the how it means, how to pass the journal entries, closing books in the books of the transferor company. And now in this session we will see incorporated entries or the opening entries in the books of the transferee company. Okay, so there are two methods, you know that, for the amalgamation purpose. First one, the pulling of interest method, it means what's the merger method. And second one, the purchase method, it means it the purchase method. Okay, and so you know, for the amalgamation problem purpose there are two methods, pulling interest method and the purchase method. For the both the methods, if we want to solve the problem, there are three steps are there. These three steps we have to follow. Okay, so now which are those three steps? First one is we have to calculate the purchase consideration, and second one we have to prepare the closing entries in the books of the transferor company, and third one is what's the incorporating entries or the opening entries in the books of the transferee company. But this is the last step, something it changes there. So what's the change? Actually there are two methods, the pulling interest method and the purchase method. Okay, so if it is the problem is related to the pulling interest method, then these incorporating entries are separate, you have to pass the means different are there for the incorporating entries in the purchase method, sorry, for the pulling interest method. And if it is the problem related to the purchase method, then these incorporating entries are the different are there as compared to the pulling interest methods. Okay, so you will understand. Now see the pulling of interest method. Okay, so now in this suppose it means what's all the assets as well as the liabilities and the reserve for of the transfer company are recorded by the transferee company. Okay, so but at their book values, but in the book values, as well as whatever they are getting the difference in the sense, if any difference of the purchase consideration and the paid up amount of share capital of the transferor company. So these whatever they are getting the difference, this difference is adjusted with the reserves and the surplus of the transferee company. So this is a very important sentence. Okay, so now we will see how to pass the journal entries under this pulling of interest method for the incorporating entries in the books of the transferee company. Okay, so now see in the next. So like this you have to draw the format, the serial numbers, particular left, debit and the credit. And for the adjustment of purchase considerations, what we have to pass the journal entries. So business purchase account debit to liquidator of transferor company account credit. Okay, so business purchase account debit to liquidator of transfer company account credit, like this we have to pass the journal entries. And for incorporation of assets, liabilities and reserve, for this purpose how to pass the journal entries. So each asset account debit, each asset means whatever the assets, opening assets are there. So this all the assets means land, building, cash in hand, cash at bank, all these assets separately, each assets with amount we have to record. Okay, so next, preliminary expenses account debit, profit and loss account debit, discount on issue of shares account debit, capital loss, if it is any the difference is there, if it is loss, then we have to make the debit. Okay, so to each liability account credit, to reserve and profit and loss account credit, to business purchase account credit. Okay, so like this we have to pass the journal entries related to the incorporation of assets, liabilities and the reserve. Okay, so next third one is awards. So for adjustment of excess purchase, okay, for adjustment of excess purchase consideration over share capital of transferor company, for this how to pass journal entry: journal reserve account debit, other reserve account debit, profit and loss account debit to capital loss account credit. Like this you have to pass the journal entries. Okay, so for the excess purchase consideration over share capital of the transferor company. So next fourth one, for settlement of purchase consideration, for the settlement purpose how to pass the journal entries: liquidator liquidator of transferor company account debit, what liquidator of transferor company account debit to share capital account credit, to share premium account credit, to bank or cash account credit. Okay, so like this how to pass the journal entries for the settlement of the purchase consideration. So in the next, what's for the related to the for payment of realization expenses of transferor company. Okay, so it's related to the realization expenses of transferor company. So in this case how to pass the journal entries: reserve or profit and loss account debit to bank or cash account credit. Okay, reserve or profit and loss account debit to bank or cash account credit. Like this we have to pass the journal entries. Okay, so next, own preliminary expenses paid by transferee company. Okay, own preliminary expenses paid by transferee company. In this case how to pass the journal entries: preliminary expenses account debit to bank or cash account credit. Okay, so like this we have to pass the journal entries related to the preliminary expenses paid by the transferee company. Okay, so these six entries are there for this pulling of interest method. And for the exam purpose they will ask if it is problem is related to the pulling interest methods. Then if it is they say to prepare the to put the incorporating entries in the books of the transfer company, then you have to follow these six entries. Okay, so they will not ask all the six entries, they will ask two or three entries. Okay, so but you should know which entries is related to the problem, and that entries we have to pass, okay, in the exam. And so it's very important for your exam oriented. Okay, so I hope we will be the understand, and in the next class we will see the incorporating entries or the opening entries in the books of the transferee company under the purchase methods. Okay, there in the 6th 7th entries are there, so we will see in the next class. Okay, I hope you will be the understanding. If you have any query with this session, then you can contact me or the text me. Thank you.